Welcome to the Sk8LikeYou podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mark, Sk8LikeYou podcast, skatelikeyou.com. I am here with Madison Bond. Madison, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I've been kind of stoked to talk to you. I was so glad that you said yes. You're kind of like one of the people that it's like best for me to interview because, like I was just saying to you, I kind of wing it because I like it where it's like, okay, I've had like a few interactions with somebody, you know, we follow each other kind of thing. And I have a general and like extremely limited knowledge of who you are. And so this literally is like the time where, you know, myself and then anyone else can get to know you too. So I think it always makes for a better episode. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
So to get rolling though, no pun intended. That was ridiculous. No pun intended. But
skate jokes.
Yeah. Anyway, so the question I do ask everyone, I'll just ask you right out of the gate. Do you remember the first time that you put on skates?
Yes. So I've been skating for a really long time, actually. But the first time I can really, I guess, truly remember having my skates on, like one of the first memories I have of skating, unfortunately, is not like good.
Okay.
So my mom put me at skates at 2. And one of my first memories skating is actually me knocking my teeth out at the skating
Wow.
rink. Yes, yeah, I had like some little skates, you know, that were obviously, I was outgrowing them
Mm-hmm.
100% in terms of just my skating skill at the time. So they were kind of just
Yeah.
like toddler, you know, little strap on type skates, like the plastic, you know, and the
Like the Fisher
wheels
Price
were,
joints, like the orange
they
and
might
blue
have been a
ones.
little better than that.
Okay.
I don't recall exactly what they were like, but I was definitely pushing them past their limits. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I fell with my mouth open and I did knock a tooth out. So
Oh.
one of my first memories is knocking that tooth out and then being like taken off the floor. And I remember like my mouth bleeding and all this craziness. And then unfortunately having to go to like an emergency dentist that day to get my mouth looked at. So that's one of the first real true memories I have. I was probably between 4 and 5, probably closer to 4 because I don't recall being in school at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, and my kindergarten picture I already had a tooth gone. So
Oh.
yeah.
I mean, that's not completely abnormal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
But like, you know, I'm sitting here thinking like, wow, 4 years old, like you know, I mean, cause I got to really think to remember 4, but I mean, not with something traumatic like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff stays with you.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Now I have other memories outside of that, but that's probably, you know, one of the real first ones I have of like being like skating and I remember being kind of like frustrated that I couldn't skate faster.
hmm.
And so, yeah.
Seems like you have addressed that problem.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into because that's one of the things I actually have been thinking about today, knowing that I was going to talk to you. But okay, so all right, beyond you know, near facial reconstruction
Yeah. I
at
don't
the
know
age
if
of
it was
4.
that bad,
No,
but
no, no, no. But losing a
yeah.
tooth, I mean, that's traumatic. I mean, it
Oh,
hurts.
yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, oh, that's a ooh. So like, okay, when did it start getting good? When do you remember it like being a thing that you were doing on the regular?
Definitely around 6 or 7. So
Okay.
I would go skating. So I did dance also at the time. I did ballet and jazz. And so I remember going to dance class on Saturday mornings, and then my mom would take me
Mm-hmm.
skating afterward. So then we would go skating afterward, and I would be in my leotard and everything, and like have my little, you know, little skirt tied on, and we would skate. And I remember enjoying that. And then that's probably one of the first couple memories. And then we would go a lot with my family members. So my cousins and stuff, we would go together. We were all really little. We're all 2 years apart, exactly like my cousins, and then my sister as well. And we would all, you know, skate in my mom would bring me, and then my aunt would bring my cousins, and we would all skate together. So
So did your parents or were they skaters too?
oh, yes. Yeah. I have a
Okay.
really skating, I like to talk about it being like a family affair for
Yeah,
me. Yeah, so my mom skated for pretty much all of her life. My dad, he skated. Unfortunately, I have never seen him skate in my lifetime.
really.
And then my mom's parents roller skated, and my entire family worked at a roller rink that actually is no longer open, unfortunately. But it's a roller rink in North Canton, Ohio, and it was called Foxborough, um, I believe, Roll Arena.
Okay.
So it closed down in the late 90s. Somebody bought it. It reopened for a handful of years, but it's been closed since the early 2000s. But my entire family worked there. My mom, my dad, oddly enough, my stepdad also worked there. My aunt, my uncle, like the whole the whole family. So,
So is this where you were skating at 6'7" or
I think my mom had taken me a handful of times, but we mainly skated at my home rink, which is North Canton Skate Center, also in North Canton, Ohio, just because I think the rink had closed the year I was born, actually. Um, I guess I'll tell you, in 1998. So that's when the rink closed.
okay.
That's when my mom
Exclusive,
and
exclusive right
everyone,
here.
yeah. That's when everyone kind of stopped working there. And then I think it kind of upset my family a lot to kind of go back after the fact. We went a handful of times. I remember skating there a couple of times,
Hmm.
but mainly most of my skating and growing up was at North Canton.
Okay. And now, is North Canton still there? Is it
Yes. Oh,
still,
yeah.
and that's still your rink or?
Yep.
Okay. North Canton.
Yeah. Never moved or anything. So,
How close is that to like where like all the flying event stuff? Like how close
oh,
is that to
like 36 Skate Club. Is
like
that what
yeah, or
you're?
like Castle, Beachmont, like that area,
Okay, yeah,
like
we
around
are
Cincinnati.
3 hours, 3 to 3.5 from like all of that. So if you're familiar with the
Okay.
Pro Football Hall of Fame, that is
Yeah.
in the city that we live in.
Oh.
So yeah, that's where
Okay.
we're at, like an hour south of Cleveland, if you're familiar with
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland. And then we're usually about 3 to 3.5 from like the Cincinnati, Dayton area,
Okay.
which is where
Okay.
a lot of great skating happens. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But you're more like when it comes to like major cities in Ohio, you what do you kind of associate more with Cleveland then?
Yeah, I guess so. That's probably like the biggest city near to us. Like
Uh-huh.
Canton's smaller, Akron is about 30 minutes north of us. It's a little bit bigger. And then Cleveland's probably like the biggest city near to us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Funny thing about Ohio, and even funnier how stupid I am, is we went to fly in. Was it no, it was when the first time I went. I went with Ray and Erica and a few other
Hmm.
people, and they were asking around about, hey, where's like a good place to go get some food? And I can't remember the name of this place. It was like this pub bar type vibe. But their big thing was like, I think it was like, I want to say it was like pork or something, but like it was like
Okay.
this German kind of style, kind of a little trendy place, right? Right, whatever. But we're in there, yeah, it was sausage, something that you like. Everything was like just one type of meat, and that you had to do that and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're at the bar, we're eating, and then somebody had said something about like, oh yeah, like this isn't what I pictured like getting dinner in Kentucky would be like. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, and they're like, well, we're in Kentucky. And I'm like, no, we're not. Like, like we had driven like 15 minutes or something,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes. And so literally for like 25 minutes, I thought they were just messing with me. That we're in Kentucky because
Yes.
I just did not, I didn't even associate it. Like, I mean, now granted, it's an 8-hour drive to like Cincinnati, Loveland area for me
Yeah.
from where I'm at, but still, it did not. I don't know. It's a random story, I know, but like it was like, wait, we're in Kentucky. Like, how did that happen? This doesn't feel like because I have this awful stereotypical idea of what Kentucky would be, obviously. But so that's like the biggest memory I have of going to Ohio for the first time was
It's like,
not
oh, we're in
believing it.
Kentucky.
Yeah, not believing anybody about
Yeah,
it.
that's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of little pockets, especially on like the eastern side of Ohio, where you can drive through like little pieces of other states. Like
Yeah,
we drive through, obviously Kentucky's super close. I think West Virginia, like sometimes we go out
yeah,
to Neville pretty frequently
right.
out in Pittsburgh, and there's a way we can take that we actually drive Ohio, West Virginia, and
Yep.
Pittsburgh all in the same Yeah, which is very interesting. Like, oh yeah, I was just in 3 states tonight.
Right,
Like,
right.
even though I was only in the car for about 2 hours. So,
Well,
yeah.
the interesting thing, I was just talking to somebody about this too, because with the May event coming up, and I think it's like, isn't it called like the Midwest?
Yeah, Midwest Jam Skate.
So I'm talking to someone and I'm like, I don't like when I think Midwest, I don't think Ohio at all.
Really?
No.
I very much think of Ohio as the Midwest. Granted, I'm from
Really?
here, so I'm biased, but yeah, Ohio is technically Midwest. I think
Yeah.
we're like the end
Yeah.
of it,
See,
because
if you
Midwest, like I think like Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan. That's usually kind of where I think about, but
yeah. See, if you have to say, yeah, we're technically Midwest, then most people that don't live in Ohio are not going to think
yeah.
Midwest.
I mean, I recently had somebody actually say that to me, and I'd never really looked it up, and so I looked it up, and we're included. Like if you
Oh
look up
no,
a
yeah,
map
you
of,
definitely are.
yeah, and I've always just been, I think a lot of things can be very similar, and I have family from both Michigan and Indiana, so I feel like a lot of that kind of ties into, you
Yeah.
know, things that Midwest people do,
Yeah.
the way that we talk, things of that nature. So,
See, because it's funny because I listen to you talk and I don't hear that. Like I think like, oh wow, like you're every like 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 there are certain areas that have I call them like it's almost like TV, like where
like
it's like
a,
this universal kind of thing. Like yeah, but I think like Dakota, like Fargo or something like that. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
anyway,
I think there's little pockets of dialects and words or phrases people say that are,
yeah.
very Midwest.
So anyway, I'm not trying to make you like the representative of Ohio or
Well,
like a
thank you.
defendant
That's,
of Ohio
yeah,
culture in
that
any way,
seems
shape, or
like
form.
a little above me, maybe. So,
But so okay, so the are you going to the Midwest
I
Jam?
believe so. I
Yeah.
don't know yet. I haven't confirmed what days I'm going. I
Hmm.
know I'm not going for all three.
Okay.
I just don't know if I'm going to do Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. I kind of haven't really decided. I need to because that's like less than 2 weeks away, but
Yeah. No.
I got a lot going on. So,
No.
you know,
I hear that. I
yeah.
hear that. So what okay, so you're 6'7". Now, are you skating all through your childhood, up through high school, like the whole deal?
For the most part, so I skated super regularly, definitely up until high school. I started working like the second I could. So like 15 and a half, have to get the paper signed by your parents for school so that you could get a job. I don't even know if they do that anymore, but had to do all that. And then once I started working, my skating kind of diminished a little bit,
Okay.
but I did still skate through high school. And then after high school, I actually took multiple years off of skating.
Hmm.
So again, I'm just gonna talk about how young I am. Sometimes it makes me kind of embarrassed, but so I graduated high school in 2017, didn't really skate much at all,
Yeah.
kind of after that. And then I really started to kind of return to skating in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4 to 5 years. I might have gone skating a handful of times, but I did take a long break from skating.
Okay. All right. Prior to the break, we'll get back to that. But prior to the break, were there any like team associated things here? You speed skating, anything like that? It
No, yeah, no, not at all. Nothing.
surprises me. It
Yeah, I was
surprises
just
me.
just skating to skate, just having a good time, skating with my friends, and yeah, skating with, I skated with my mom occasionally, and yeah, that was just for fun.
Did I wonder if you kind of had the same experience I did? Because I grew up in the same rink. I followed my older brother and older sister there, and I skated all through my childhood up through high school. But for me, it was like I had kind of like two social lives because there was literally maybe no, I don't even know if there was anyone in my high school at the time. Maybe at 1 or 2 years that somebody ended up getting into high school while I was still there that skated. But for the most part, it was like I had like this rink social life that consisted of every
Yeah.
age and whatever, right? And then I had like my high school like friends, like my high school social life. Was that the same for you, or did you go to school with skaters?
My experience is super similar. I would skate with my friends sometimes, so I did have some friends that did skate. Some of
Hmm.
those friends still skate, but it was never on the level that I was skating. Like every
Yeah.
single week, I go these days, all the time throughout school. In high school, it was common for us to go on like Friday or Saturday night, and we would take, like I might have a girlfriend or something meet me there to skate. But for the most part, it was very separate. I did have a little bit of crossover. Like one of my friends might like skating and they would come for a few months and kind of hang out with my skate friends. But it was a lot of my friends are very separate.
Yeah.
So I have my skate friends and then all my other friends. Most of my friends in my life actually don't really know each other. I just
Mm.
have like individual friendships of like me and this person, and then it's me and that person, and nobody knows each other, hangs out together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but at the skating rink, when friends would tell me they wanted to come skating, I was always like, you can meet me there. I
Yeah.
never wanted anyone to come with me because that meant that I had to hang out with them the entire time.
Right. Yeah. You can't
And I
just skate.
wanted to skate.
Yep.
Yes, I was like, you can meet me there and I'll see you there, but I don't want to, like go with you and have to, be next to you the entire night. And I didn't want those like expectations.
Yeah,
So,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. Just obviously ready to establish those clear boundaries. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's good though, man. That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, same thing. Like every once in a while, somebody might show up or something like that. But yeah, it was more of like a social thing for them. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like there were, yeah, it wasn't like I was doing it. Okay, so you do it through high school, and then you stop for about 4 or 5 years through college and stuff. And after about 4 or 5 years, was there something in particular? Did you just like have a thought? Or just like, oh, hey, I want to try that again? What kind of inspired you to get back into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, unfortunately, kind of through high school and even into my early 20s, I had a lot of issues with myself.
Okay.
Just not necessarily being happy with myself, and I wanted to
Hmm.
fit in, and
Mm.
all these other things. And so for a long time, I kind of stifled the things that I like. And so
Yeah,
for a
man.
long time, I did that, and I was like, oh, I'll, stop doing these things. And one of the reasons I stepped away from skating too was I think I was burnt out on a lot of the friend group that I was hanging out with. And I think that just comes with growing up as a
Hmm.
person
Yep.
sometimes. So, I left not with the intention to not return for years, but it kind of just spiraled into this thing where I was like, oh, I'm going to stop doing that because I don't know, it's not what other people do and all this other stuff,
Mm.
which sounds very dramatic, but I wanted to
It's all
fit
that
in.
matters
And
then. Yeah.
yeah, like I had a lot of just not being confident in who I was as an individual, and just a lot of kind of soul searching at the time and spending a lot of time doing things that I didn't truly enjoy,
Hmm.
just because other people around me were doing those things. And I wanted to be with those people because I was like, oh, these are the relationships I'm trying to cultivate. So I want to fit in with them and do these things. And I don't really want to kind of step out of the box. And
Mm.
then I don't know how old I was in 2021 off the top of my head, but early 20s still. And I kind of just had this point where I was like, I'm, tired of doing, not doing the things that I enjoy. Like
Mm.
I'm, I don't know how old am I right now?
That happens to me too.
I think it was 23.
Okay.
I think I was 23. So I'm 23 and I'm like, wow, I have no fulfillment in my life
Oh
anymore.
wow.
And, I'm unhappy and drained and all this other stuff. Like, what can I do to kind of get back to being me? And so I was like, I'm going to do and be everything that I am. And if people don't want to be in my life because of that, that's on them. Like, that has nothing to do with me as an individual. I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. And I still
Mm.
feel that way today, but it's like, I started listening to the music that I really, really liked again. And I started skating again. And I, even had a couple reconnections with some of my friends from my past. I started going to the gym and I started doing all these things by myself because I was like, I want to be me,
Yeah.
you know? I know it might, like I said, sound a little bit
No.
dramatic, but
No.
yeah, I was just tired of not feeling fulfillment. And I was like, I'm too young to feel this way about myself. So I'm gonna try and change that and figure it out now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it was just, get back to the things that you really like and enjoy, and maybe that'll make things better and you can be yourself. And yeah.
Yeah. I no, it doesn't sound weird or dramatic in any stretch. I mean, first of all, I mean, like, it's so funny when you think about, like, I remember hearing people say, in 10 years, the last thing you're ever going to care about is what your friends in high school thought, right? But at the time, as a kid, nothing matters more
Yeah.
than what these people that I have to basically spend 8 hours a day with, like, think. I mean, for me, like, I mean, two things. I mean, one, I kind of always felt like the UPS driver dropped me off. You know what I mean? Like, I did not feel like I fit in this space at all. Right. Like, and then two, like, I came up like, see, my mom had my mom, like, now I'm like 44, right? So like I'm like born 1980, like last day of 1980 actually. But uh my by the time I was two, my mom was involved with a woman. And coming up in that time frame, when I was younger, nobody kind of noticed. Kids didn't notice. When we get to a certain age, and then they start putting things together, and certain kids aren't supposed to hang out with me anymore, or I'm hearing, like, just people screaming stuff from, at a park or whatever, right? Like, it was a different time. It was a whole different thing that was socially acceptable to talk about and say to people than that is not now. And it made me like want to like hide and like and essentially deny what my life was, you know what I mean, and what my daily experience was, and it it hit me early enough that it really, if it could have gone another way, it because to me, I got this lesson somehow that it was like, in order for me to be comfortable anywhere I'm at, you cannot know what's going on in my house. You can't know me. You can't, you know what I mean? So like, if it hadn't been arrested in time, it could have just become this spiraled life thing of me just pretending all the time.
Oh yeah.
And what's funny for me though is that the rink was a place I didn't have to do that. Like, nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody whispered when, like, my mom and like Diane would walk in the door. You know what I mean? Like, nobody said anything. I didn't have a teacher like looking at me kind of weird when I said like I had like two moms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it totally. So I understand what that thing is, and I also understand when it was like, you know what, all this, man, every single, like, this is, and also even for my mom too,
Oh yeah.
look, what am I gonna be embarrassed of that? Like, that's crazy. It's, so I get it, man. I really, really do. But yeah, it's so funny because you're saying that. I'm thinking there's nothing more important than like a 14-year-old kid is everyone else, every other 14-year-old thinks. At least for me, I was,
Oh yeah.
oh. So did it do those things for you though? Did it open that thing for you to be you again when
Oh
you jump
yeah.
back in?
100%. I mean, I think it took some time. Obviously, I also took time away from skating, so it was like, all right, start skating again. And then at that point, I'm in my early 20s. I can go to adult night and all this other stuff, and all these people are just a lot better than me, which is wonderful. But I was like, wow, like, I have a lot to learn, a lot to catch up on. I gotta practice, get back to that riding the bike
Yeah.
feeling with skating. I think too, it was also a really good safe space for me as well. Just with, I had some stuff going on, and like it was a nice escape. So I actually went to college later in life. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't go to school until I was 22 or 23. So I didn't even really go to college until later as well. So it was kind of a nice thing to have where it's like, okay, these people are familiar and the music's good and it has that social aspect and the community aspect and everyone's always welcoming and it's an activity. So I'm doing physical activity. So getting those endorphins and those hormones, so it was always, I feel good when I go skate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go skate. Yeah.
Did when you jump back in, did you like kind of show up at a rink and not know anybody at that point? Is that kind of your experience, or?
So I showed up at my home rink. Obviously, I skated there my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew some people, but I was so
Really?
nervous to return to skating. Yeah, because I had kind of just stopped skating and like I didn't talk to anybody after that. Like none of the
Okay.
people I was friends with really, like I didn't really keep in contact with many of them. Maybe occasionally seeing them here and there, but I didn't talk to any of them, and I wasn't like done skating. See you in a few years. So
You just disappeared, basically.
yeah, yes. And when I went back, I knew people from my life and I was too nervous to talk to anybody, which is, I like to say like an introverted extrovert because I am very social and extrovert and I like talking to people and I like being social. Um, but oh my gosh, it was so just like, what are people going to think about me? And
Right.
all this other stuff. And they're going to ask me questions. And like, just had this like looming feeling of being nervous to return, and luckily, like everyone was for the most part like so kind, like so good to see you, how's your mom, how's your family, what have you been up to, all
Hmm.
this other stuff. But it's funny too because like my current partner Steven, like we grew up together as kids, and I
Oh,
remember
okay.
when I came back, obviously I know him, we grew up together, we were friends, and I was like, I'm not talking to anybody that I know. So then eventually people would come up to me and be like, hey, how's it going? It's good to see you.
We've been seeing you here.
Yes, yeah. So it was nice to kind of have that, kind of break that ice. And I was so worried that obviously it was completely, I like to say that I really 180'd my life
Mm,
in my late teens to early 20s. I really like changed a lot of things about myself for the better. In all types of areas, growth and stuff like that. And so, I was really nervous and like embarrassed to come back and be like, oh, I'm doing this now and all this other stuff. But everyone was really nice and welcoming. And obviously, I made new friends as well. So that was good. I think part of the thing that got me was it was a different population because I was going to different skate nights than where I'd been going as a kid. Like, I think I went to one adult night ever when I was like 18, 19, and then now I'm coming and everyone knows each other and there's a handful of people I know, but not really the same kind of group.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what were beyond the home rink? What were some or what are some other rinks that you kind of venture to in where around where you live?
Yeah. So growing up, I really didn't skate anywhere else ever.
Okay.
Um, for most of my life up until I started skating again. I think I took my first skate trip in 2021 to Steel City. That was my first ever like real skate trip, going to a new rink
Hmm.
and, out somewhere else. But some other rinks that I skate at, like, are you asking like around here?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
when you were saying about going to different adult nights and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. So, adult night wise, like my rinks adult night was different for me because I'd never really been. And then other rinks that I go to around here, I skate at Springfield Lake Roller Rink, which is not in Springfield. It is in Akron.
Okay.
Technically, it's in like Lakemore, Ohio, which is like a
Okay.
suburb of Akron. So I skate there pretty regularly, and then now, gosh, I go everywhere now. Some rinks I like out here. I like Miggs Playmore, which is up in like, I think it's technically in like Wickliffe. It might technically be in Bedford, Ohio.
Hmm.
I like skating Brunswick Skate Station. That one's a really good rink, and there's really good food up there. My favorite pizza place is up there, so I really like to go up there and then get pizza afterward. Um, that's really the places I skate the most.
Hmm.
And then there are some other ones in the area that I'll go to occasionally. Like there's Acres of Fun in Worcester, Ohio. And most of these rinks, unfortunately, other than Springfield, are all about over an hour away for us.
Yeah, I
So
hear that.
Springfield's kind of the only thing that's close. Like Springfield's only 25 minutes from my house versus everything else is like, all right, you're going to Cleveland, you're going to Youngstown, which is an hour for us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So when I see you at events, like when that you kind of always traveling with the same crew, Steven and these other guys, were those people the ones at your home rink when you first got back there? Were they all there too? And
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
So obviously there's a ton of Steves. Yeah. So one of the Stevens, the one with the blonde, like white hair. So that's actually my uncle.
Yeah,
Funny enough. Yeah.
and the only way I distinguish him, like I have to call him Stevan. It's just, you know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
anyway, I
Yeah,
didn't figure
his like
the
nickname growing up
sweetest
was
guy.
like Big Steve. Like that was
Okay.
his nickname at the skating rink with everybody. So when we're talking about all of the Steves, I'm like, okay, Big Steve, or I say Uncle Steve, and then like my Steve, like, and then there's another Steve. Like, there's so many Steves. Yeah, it's insane. There's three, so yeah, but they were all for the most part there. My uncle obviously was there, and you know, I would talk to him occasionally, but and like not often though. So when I seen him when I came back, it was the first time I'd probably seen him in 4 or 5 years. And then Steven was there, and then Zach, and yeah, that's kind of my main
Yeah.
crew, I guess you could call it. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
they were all there when I started skating, and so Big Steve and Zach were friends for like a long time. So that was like the first time I really met Zach, and then obviously I knew Steven as like a kid growing up.
Mm.
We skated together, so yes,
I gotta say, Big Steve or Uncle Steve or
yeah,
however you want
you
to.
can say Uncle Steve. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, Uncle Steve. Uh, man, one of the nicest, sweetest dudes I've ever met. That guy goes out of his way to come over, shake my hand, and just be just. I feel like it's almost like it's not, and it doesn't feel it's authentic.
Oh
It's
yeah,
genuine, and
he's
but
extremely genuine.
yeah, and it just feels like wow, like you took like it's more than just coming over and saying hi. It's
He's that
like
type of guy.
it's yeah, but it's more than that. It's like coming over like I'm gonna go see what I can do to make that dude's day. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go say something to that dude that's gonna make him feel like seriously. Like every time I see him, I'm always glad to see him. He's
Yeah,
always yeah. What
he's
a good dude.
wonderful.
Shout out
Obviously,
Uncle
I'm super
Steve.
biased. Yes, shout out Uncle Steve. Yes.
I'm gonna call you Uncle Steve from now on.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
But okay, so all right, so you find your niche, you find your crew, you're back in it, you're doing the deal. 21 was the first event you went to. That's Steel City.
Yes.
So I got to ask. So one of the things I
It might have
see.
been. You know what? I might be lying to you. I think it was 2022.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because I'm like I've only gone 3 times, so it has to be 2022.
I get it so messed up already. I've been there twice.
Yeah.
I've been to two events,
Yes.
and I can't remember. And I've been in like I say it like every year I've been there, but it's like 2 years, and
Yeah.
then I'm trying to think, but it feels like a lot longer ago.
Yeah, it does.
That
Because
was
I'm
my
like
first
I'm
event
like
too.
thinking I'm like I always think I'm like what color was my hair when I was there, and yeah, that'll help with yeah.
So that was my first event that I had ever been to. Then a couple months later, Flying was the next one.
Yes.
But it's funny is when I see you, and I kind of I have this weird thing with everybody, no matter who it is, right? Where the intelligent thing to do or the simple thing to do would just be remember names, right? And I do for the most part, but I always kind of like something sticks into my mind, and usually just about someone's demeanor or like and I'm not in a judgmental way at
Yeah,
all.
I
Like,
get you.
so there's this thing that comes to mind when I see like whenever I see you and I see you skate, and it's very good. It's a good thing. I'm telling you, I swear this. I'm not just. I don't know if I've seen somebody skate with so much enthusiasm as I see, and that's a compliment. That's a very good thing. I mean, I feel like you exude like joy as
Oh,
you're
thank you.
flying. I mean, I get in like next to you or behind you, whatever, and I look like I can see you like literally grinning ear to ear
Yeah, yeah.
for a lot of
I
the
be doing
time.
that. Yeah.
So what's going like? Is like so what? Yeah, I mean, what is the feeling that you're getting out there? Because it's all over you. I could
I
tell.
just, I'm just thriving out there. I always like talk about, like skating's my club.
Yeah,
Like I don't really go out and I don't really drink a ton or anything like that's not super common for me. So I'm like skating is like my club night. Like the music and the people and like the vibes are really good. And I love skating. It's fun. I really enjoy it. Especially the music, but yeah, I mean, I'm having a blast. Like it's been what I've been looking forward to do. Um, a lot of times I'm singing, which has turned out to kind of be my downfall because, they'll have photographers and stuff at these events and, they're posting all the album of the photos and I'm looking through for like a picture of me. And what am I doing? My mouth is like wide
you're just
open and I look
belting
super
something out.
weird. Yeah, like it's not like a flattering or a cute picture. And I'm like, oh, I was definitely singing. Like, great. So,
Oh man,
yeah, but I just love skating. I love watching people skate. I love the culture surrounding skating in multiple styles. Obviously, I really like shuffling,
mm,
but even other styles too. I feel like it kind of translates over regardless of where I'm at, the type of skating I'm doing, the type of music that's playing for the most part. So it's just like I'm like it's my time. Yeah.
yeah, and it seems like too. I mean, as far as like your immediate kind of crew that you run with, especially the events. I mean, like well, you're Steve. I mean, like they all kind of seem like kind of masters of not only the shuffle but middle of the floor. You know what I mean? Like they like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, impressive. You know what I mean to a degree. Have you always been like one of the fastest people at any rink?
Um, I don't like to talk about myself up like that, but that was one of the things I was nervous about when I came back to skating is I was such a strong, fast skater growing up. Um, and a lot of that's, my mom, as well as a family friend of ours that worked at the skating rink that I went to, pushing me to be a stronger and a better skater. Um, but yes, to answer your question, I have met I don't like to be like, oh, I'm so fast. But I've met a handful of people that I would say really, I'm like, wow, and I'll say it more like, I'll be specific, women specifically.
Okay.
Um, I love women. I love women who skate. I think there could be more, like 100%. So
Yeah.
when I'm out, especially like out of state somewhere, and there's a good woman skater, I'm like, yes, like I'm
Yeah.
hype. But most of the time, that's why I skate a lot by myself. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to think who it was. It was months ago. I was talking to someone about this too, and she was. I think it might have been Jen Rankin. I'm not sure, but you know, she was talking about how the kind of like the lack of representation for women
yes,
in
yes,
skating.
100%.
Uh,
And I think that's across like all ages too. I don't think it's age specific. Like I don't know many women in their 20s, like skating, not to be like me, but with that really strong passion that are out there doing it. And I think it's a small group of people in general, just over all ages
yeah,
for women specifically.
because what was funny about it was I was saying to her, especially as someone that grew up playing hockey too. There's always been kind of like this stigma towards like roller skating, you know what I mean? Especially if you played ice sports and stuff like that. Like it just
Yeah.
wasn't. I mean, I had a hockey family literally like down the street, and I came out my quads one day, and like their dad is like mocking me, like, "Hey, wimpy wheels," you know what I mean? And like,
Oh gosh.
so like there was like always this. It's so when I was talking to her about it, I was like, it's kind of funny because it like like for like, even if you're like, I'd be in an office and it'd be like, you know, you hear Vash on roller skates, you know what I mean, among like these guys in an office. And I was like, so it's funny how there's this stigma, yet there's so many more dudes skating
Oh
than
yeah.
there are women.
Oh
You know what I
yes.
mean? And then all of the host of things that brings up, especially in the social media age where everyone's posting videos and stuff. And yeah, I can't even like I was talking to Lacey about it, right? About that whole
Yeah.
thing, and about how I might get like, you know, a comment here or there, like, oh, that guy's looks like he's having a seizure or something dumb, but nothing compared to what women deal with.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the other thing that I know that I picked up about you though, that I saw, it was so it was awesome. It was all, and I don't know how, like, I don't know how much you want to go into this or whatever, or like, or even I don't even know how much of it is a thing for you right now. But man, I would, when I first started following you or we become friends, I would see these pictures of you lifting, like powerlifting.
Yes.
I mean, like, but it was awesome. I was like,
Thank you.
that's sort of the cool, like, so is that something that you still do? How
Oh
long
yes.
have you been into that?
Yeah, so that's actually the reason I don't do any type of like competitive skating. Um, one, because there's not really a lot around us in terms of like competitive skating. So like I've been recruited for speed, I've been recruited for derby before, but unfortunately there's just not a ton out here. That it's like, you know, real serious. Unfortunately, most of it's an hour to 2 hours away. And I just, you know, I don't have the time to travel to a rink that regularly for practice and things like that. So skating is my fun sport. And then my competitive sport is powerlifting. So
So you
I've
do
been,
compete.
yes, I do. Yep. Yeah. I just competed. I compete usually every year. My next competition is actually in September this year. I'm trying to see how it's going to work out because it's actually the day of your event. Um, so it's the 27th. I'm supposed to compete this year. So I'm trying to see if I can be like, all right, if I lift and then like we get in the car and like we go, like, you know, it'll be a long day, but we're gonna see how it goes. But
That's
yeah,
very
I
sweet of
competed
you.
last year. I placed first in my weight class last year. Um, that was my first time getting first place, and then the year prior to that, I took second in my weight class. Um, yeah, so I've been powerlifting for 4 years, and I've competed every year. So I usually compete every year.
So, well, first thing I want to say is I want to be on record as saying I would much rather hear that you won an event than came to the event that we're having. Okay. So, that's the first thing. Secondly is that, so that's kind of like, I mean, when we talk about kind of like, not random, but just kind of, um, off the radar kind of like sports, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yeah, it's
skating is, you
not
know
a
what I mean?
super like popular. I don't want to say it's not super popular. I think it's getting more popular, but it's a very niche
It's
sport.
not, yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
mainstream thing. So what,
Yes.
so you gotta tell me what, there had to be a moment, right? That like that you were like, I want to do that.
Yeah. So
And
I always talk about, you know, unfortunately, I can say this now as a grown adult, but, you know, your parents are usually right about stuff growing up. So my dad has always been someone to tell me, you know, you should do this or you'd be good at that and all this other stuff. And I was like, no, you know, like I'll do my own thing. I'll figure out my own thing. So he was like, you should do engineering. And so I did engineering in high school and I decided not to do that. Oh, you should be a drummer. I played trombone instead, but I should have drummed. I agree with that. And then he was like, you are built to be a powerlifter. And I was like, no. And he told me that when I was like in my teen years, which would
so
have been a
did
great
that
time
go
to
over
start.
well? Yeah, did that go over well with you though? And I'm sorry if that is me being like, I don't know, I don't know,
You're fine.
just insensitive. But
Yeah, no, you're good.
is that like a hard thing to hear for a girl? Like at
No,
that
not at
time?
all.
Okay, okay.
Not at all, especially too because so I am like a huge anatomy, physiology person. So I actually I'm finishing my bachelor's degree here in a couple of weeks actually for exercise
Congratulations.
science. Thank you, I appreciate it. So I have a really good understanding of, the body and its anatomy and physiology, and that plays a part in strength sports.
Yeah.
And I am built to do that. I'm short, which is great because it means I don't have to move the weight very far. I also have short legs and a long torso, which also means that I don't have to move weight very far. So I'm kind of more of like a short, and obviously I'm a little stockier. I have really big muscular legs, so that is very beneficial for most powerlifting types of lifts. So it wasn't hard to hear. It was more, I was just like, at the time I was running cross country and doing track, and I was like, that is so way far away, but that is a very common pipeline of long distance track runner to powerlifter strength sports. Very common. I actually lift with
Really?
quite a few women that, did running and, weighed a lot less because you usually weigh a lot less to be able to run,
Yeah.
versus now, we're healthier, heavier weights doing a completely different type of sport, using different energy systems in our bodies to do that. So it's really interesting. But yeah, so my dad kind of had said that to me as a kid, and I was like, eh. And then eventually, or in my early 20s, actually, kind of had like a little bit of like a weight loss journey. I was actually had, some health concerns. I was very unhealthy. And at the time, I was like, wow, at the time, I'm 21 and I have all this stuff going on. Like, there's no reason
Hmm.
that all this should be going on with me. Like, I got to get it together. So I kind of started going to the gym to lose weight. Unfortunately, I do have a history of eating disorder throughout my life. That kind of got to me again in my early 20s through that weight loss. And I lost like 70 pounds or something like crazy. And I was underweight. I wouldn't say underweight, normal weight for what, like BMI and stuff would tell you. But the way that I lost the weight and the type of exercise I was doing just was like not good for obviously my mental health, my physical health, and some other things. And I, kind of was like, all right, I'm going to pivot. Like, weight loss is not everything. Like, the number on the scale is not everything. You know what is? My strength as an individual. And so I
Yeah.
started getting into resistance training, using machines and dumbbells at the gym and learning. And then eventually I kind of just, I was going to Planet Fitness, which is great. Loved Planet Fitness at the time. But it was just limiting. And I was like, this is not the type of stuff I'm trying to do. So I
Hmm.
did some research, looked into not powerlifting specifically, but I was like, I want to go to a gym that has actual free weights. So
Right.
barbells, things like that, squat racks, benches, traditional gym equipment. And I found my gym and I started working out there, and I worked with a coach to help me learn how, to do proper form with a barbell, because it's very different than using like a Smith machine or something like that.
Hmm.
It's very different. So, and then I was like, you know what? I love this, and all these people around me are strong, and I'm lucky enough that my gym actually has a really large population of women powerlifters, which is,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah, super cool. So it's like I'm surrounded by all these, super strong people, and my gym is kind of an outlier where, we have women and men that are, nationally competing.
Yeah.
So they're just, a lot of people that are really strong coming out of there. And I was like, wow, I want to do this. Like,
Yeah.
what a good feeling. And like, everyone was so nice and welcoming. And I was like, I want to be like this. So,
Yeah, and you're surrounded by inspiration at all
yes,
times because
yes.
you got women doing this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
too.
And I
Yeah.
still am. Like, I still
Yeah.
live with all those same women. And it's like, it's great. So,
So when did the first competition happen? Like what made you decide to give it a shot? Like,
so I had gotten a coach officially, I think it was like July, July or August of where are we? I think no, I'm lying to you. No, I'm right. Okay. So I got a coach probably in like the summer of 2022, and my first competition was December that year. And we did that just because it's like
you
you
gotta be
don't know
smart.
what it's like till you do
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and it was actually called Female Feats of Strength. So it was like an all female competition. and it was like, not drug tested. So it was just like all types of people, um, different weight classes, different age groups. I think the oldest lady that lifted there was in her 70s,
Wow.
like, which is amazing. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
was just really empowering to go and be like, wow, this is really fun and cool. And like, now I know what to expect and things like that. So
No kidding.
yeah, it was fun.
And so what's been the pinnacle thus far? You mentioned a couple things that you had won, but what was the where you took first place? What was that?
So that was the meet that I did last. So I actually did that meet in October last year. And that was actually hosted at my gym. So it was, I believe it was called Iron Dog. Some of the names of these are very
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
weird and like random. But it's through, there's federations for weightlifting. So this one is USPC, which is like the United States Powerlifting Coalition. Common ones you hear a lot are like USPA, USAPL. Those are like really bigger, like nationally, kind of like the standards for powerlifting. But yeah, so I did that one. It was like a smaller, not like a super small meet, but most meets are usually about 100, like 60 to 120 people, depending on how big the meet is and how many days. So there are about 60 people in this competition. And then the one that I'm doing this September is the follow up to that. So it's
Okay.
actually the same federation, same company. It's hosted at my gym again, which is just,
So you have
you
to go
lift,
defend your title.
yeah,
You have
like
to go get.
you lift good when you're at home.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to a hotel. I don't have to stay anywhere. I can sleep in my bed. Like
Mhm.
this is my place. Like I think a lot of times like I just live better at home. So
That's awesome,
yeah,
Madison. That's so cool,
thanks.
man.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
that's so cool. The
Yeah,
first time I saw it, I was scrolling through and I'm like, oh, that's badass,
yeah,
dude. I was, it was the
I
coolest
love
thing.
it.
Man, now what I wonder though is like, and I don't assume either way, but well, I would think it has to. You must feel it, the impact of that in your skating. How does it affect
Yes.
that at all?
So unfortunately, they're opposite sports.
Okay.
Training opposite energy systems. So like, I mean, I won't get into all the sciencey stuff, but it's using different energy. Um, yeah, so like one uses like short burst type energy, which is powerlifting, because those are really short, really strong, powerful type of movements. And then skating for me is obviously usually a very long cardiovascular
Mm-hmm.
exercise type event. Um, I do think that squatting and things like that um, help me with being a good skater because my legs are extremely strong.
Hell yeah.
And I can tell a lot of times too, like, wow, it takes a lot less for me to take one step and gain what I want to gain and things like
Okay.
that. The downside is though, cardiovascularly, I'm definitely not as well trained for skating. And a lot of times too, I think that's what gets me
Hmm.
is the cardiovascular aspect. Like I'm just not trained to, I go to these events and I'm sure you do too. And I see these groups of people, like I think of Florida, especially when I'm thinking about this, where they're in a train and everyone's shuffling and they're doing it song after song after song after song at the same pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my goodness. Could I do it if I went slower? Probably, yes, but that's not really the pace I want to go at most of the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh my gosh, like you were talking about Jen. I think about her. I'm like, she's just consistent and like obviously I think she did what was that like skate marathon thing? Like
Yeah.
I could never.
No.
Yeah, my heart is definitely not healthy enough to do that. But I don't train for cardiovascular endurance or anything like that at all.
Mm-mm.
If I'm doing cardio, it's for a little bit of heart health, but most of the time it's more for, blood flow, maybe cutting weight for a competition, things like that. Like I'm never
No.
exercising aerobically for more than 20 minutes outside of skating. So,
Yeah, the only running I do
yeah.
is like out of Doritos. You know what I mean? Like that's literally that's
Yeah.
the extent of it. And now I will say though that my wind has definitely improved since skating again. It had to because, like you said, especially you go to these events where that's what they do every day of the week.
Yes. Yeah.
See, when I go there, it's like a special thing. And
Yeah.
this is what they do, right? And someone like Jen also, she relishes in the idea of breaking you, especially if you're a dude skating next
Oh
to her.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree with that a little bit.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
there a little bit too.
I think it's awesome because she was telling me about this, and I'm like, look, Jen, I don't have the ego problem to be like, you know, she's like, but it's so funny. She's like, because I'll skate next to this dude, and you know, and he'll sometimes somebody might like just be kind of patronizing, you know what I mean, kind of stuff.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
the deal.
It's
And
common.
yeah, and but you know, so she'll be going and you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep up with you, you know, and like kind of just being patronizing to her or whatever, and then she'll, you know, they'll be going, and she'll start to see the look on his face where he needs to drop out, he wants to drop out, you know, and but his ego won't let him yet,
Yeah.
and she's like, and that's when I turn it up.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Like, she reminds me of like Ivan Drago, like
I wish I could be like that.
you know, I must break you, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And she does. And I'm telling her, I don't care, man. Like you know, like you can go 100 times longer than I can, you know, like that's all there is to it. Like, and that's fine with me. I mean, and on top of it, she does it with like half the stride.
Oh,
that, like,
I
the
know.
average person has. So
that's my main issue, I think, is stride. And then my other issue, weight. I think that's the other, I would say, like maybe a downside of powerlifting is like I compete in a specific weight class by choice. So I keep my weight around that frequently, which is a lot heavier than a lot of people. Like I weigh more than both Zach and Steven. Obviously, I'm much shorter, and I feel like weight definitely plays a part with like I'm just moving a lot more. Like I'm working harder because I'm carrying myself. So that I think, you know, if I was like 40 pounds lighter, I could definitely, you know, run some people probably down more so than now. Yeah, but some of that I think gets me too. I was actually one time we were in Indianapolis at a skate event out there, and Aaron was there. And I had talked to him and I said, you know, do they ever do weight classes in speed skating? And he said no. And I said, I can never do that then. Because all these other people are going to be the same size as me. Like I'm short, I'm 5'3", but they're going to be 40 to 50, maybe even more like pounds lighter than me. Yeah. Obviously I probably have more muscle, but at the same time too, like it's hard because you are pushing and carrying yourself. Yeah.
How much is like how much are you utilizing like fast twitch kind of stuff like in powerlifting?
In powerlifting a ton.
I would think so.
Fast twitch is the main
yeah, which is kind of contradictory, I guess, to what okay.
Yeah, because the only types of muscle you cannot train type 1. Type 1 muscle or those slow twitch fibers that you're talking about, those are going to be predominantly, I believe, with more like endurance type sports, running and things like that. Those are muscles you cannot change. Type 2 fibers are fibers that you can change with, you know, exercise and things like that. So
well, now that
I'm going to be so mad if that's incorrect off the top of my head, but
you know what, just say it with confidence, man, because I guarantee you everybody watching this didn't have a clue.
It's bad because I study it, so I should know it, you know. Yeah.
There's no doctors watching. so let me, but like it's so funny because I was literally gonna say, so now that I could talk to like a medical professional, you know, like so this is the dumbest question you're ever gonna get.
Oh gosh.
But I see it all the time. Okay, I see people do this. Fact or fiction? Pickle juice is the thing to do for hydration.
Yeah, so not hydration specifically. I'm actually huge on consuming, so it's sodium.
Okay.
Ooh, we got a friend.
No,
Hi.
it's perfectly fine. Please join us.
Here's my friends.
Oh.
One friend, two friend.
Oh, both of them. Here we go.
Yeah, they both are climbing on me right now.
It's all good. Don't even sweat it.
They left. Anyway, yeah, so pickle juice, like you can actually get pickle juice sometimes. So Neville actually will sell you a little shot of pickle juice, which I think is great. But the main thing that's good about that is salt. So the sodium in pickle juice is great for hydration because you can drink as much water as you want, but if you don't have enough sodium, or like we talk about electrolytes, sodium is an electrolyte, potassium is as well. Um, what's going to end up happening is that water is just going to leave your body. Like you're just going to pee it out, basically.
Mm.
So having that sodium, water follows salt, so it stays in your body to actually keep you hydrated. So pickle juice is great. Even if you don't have pickle juice, like a little salt in your water is good. Especially, I would say, especially if you are someone that, you know, sweats a lot, exerts himself for a long period of time doing cardiovascular exercise. Like super important because you're sweating all those electrolytes out, right? When
Mm.
you've ever sweated or, on your lip and licked it, it's salty electrolytes,
Have I ever
pleasing.
sweated? You
So,
could. Have you seen
yeah.
any picture of me at any rink ever?
I'm the same way. I'm
No.
usually beet red
I'm
and my
so.
hair's wet. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm in the same boat.
I literally bring like 2 extra shirts like
Yeah.
everywhere I go.
I bring a change of clothes for after, but I always wear stuff like this. This is actually my undershirt from work, but I wear these
Mhm.
skating too because they're dry fit, which is also, I wear those for like a scientific reason. I also like long sleeves, but I wear those for creating a really good environment for thermoregulation. So if
Mhm.
you wear tight clothes, that doesn't allow for a ton of space in between. It allows the evaporative cooling effect from sweating to happen faster. So your body's actually able to cool down easier and faster versus like a loose cotton shirt. Kind of creates its own environment inside, which makes it
Yeah.
harder for that thermoregulation to happen to you. So,
I tell you, some of the coolest thing I ever got was the Under Armour heat gear.
yeah,
Because for whatever reason, like any type of you know air that would move, like either me moving against it or it moving against me, I could feel it
yeah,
move through.
oh, yeah.
Like, and it was that stuff I swear by.
Yeah, I like
So,
those. I like, these are like a healthcare brand. They're Cuddle Duds.
okay.
And then I like DSW or DSW. Dick's Sporting Goods, DSG
Oh,
is what
DSG.
it
Yep.
says. Yeah, I like their stuff too. So,
Yeah.
and it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this place called Dunham's around
Oh
here.
yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So they sell like this brand. I don't see it anywhere, and they're not expensive, and they're not. But it's like it's called Legend, but it's like spelled with one of the E's is like a 3.
Yeah.
But they make these pants that and shorts that are like very stretchy, but they look like khaki. Anytime you see me wearing pants in the rink, that's what I'm wearing because like
Okay.
they're literally like almost like an Under Armour fabric that kind of looks
Yeah.
like a pair of slacks or something like that. Best thing I ever got, because the other thing is because what I'm
Oh
so
gosh.
super subconscious about though, self-conscious about, is because I sweat, and where I sweat and where that shows up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I get you.
And like I never have to concern myself with it when I
That's
wear those
good.
pants. They're
That's why
awesome.
I wear all black all the time. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always dark colors, man.
Yes, always.
So anyway,
It's always like the same outfit for me. So,
It's
people
like a
probably think it's,
superhero.
yeah, it's giving like character on a TV show. That's me when I'm
Yeah.
skating. Same outfit all the time, pretty
Well,
much.
I gotta tell you, I mean, because it was the last castle event. I remember it was kind of towards the end of the night on Saturday. I don't know if you picked up on this. I was just talking to somebody about this. The last night at the castle, I don't even feel like it was like well, nobody said it out loud, but it seemed like in like the last hour, it was like this collective agreement, like unspoken, that everyone just went balls out, like just went nuts. And it was I only shot footage in like probably 25 minutes of like that last hour, and I got more than I could even care to. And it was awesome. And I got really excellent footage of you.
Yes,
And
I do
and it
remember that.
and it would look, you went for a while, and I mean, okay, like, I hear you when you say, that could be improved, but man, I don't know, dude. Like yeah, I was huffing and puffing trying to keep up for sure.
Thanks.
So
It was fun. I love it. I had such a good time skating down there. I have such a good time skating anywhere, but I love Castle. Like that floor is great. A lot of the people that come are too, which is nice. Like I love skating with Nathan.
mm,
He's funny. He told me when we skate together that he goes, I don't know what you do, but it's like we'll be going fast, and he's like, you do this thing where you're like, like you skate a lot with your arms, and it's like he said, it's like you're pulling yourself to go
yes.
faster. And I was like, I have never heard that.
It's like this thing, and
Yeah,
you
like
utilize your head too.
yes. Oh yeah. It's a
You
whole
know.
body thing. Like I think skating is so many people are focused on what their legs are doing. And I'm like, it's your whole body. I use my whole body to skate.
Mm, yeah.
And I think that's why I'm able to skate the way that I do. Because if I didn't, oh my gosh. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be like the skater that I am right now. Yeah, because it's
Well,
like leg movement, arm movement, upper like torso movement, I think plays a big part. And I think it makes it look better. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, it's kind of, trust me. So they're like, oh man, I can't say anything, but let me tell you, like I've seen, there's like some places like around here, man, where you could go, you can watch like this shuffle line of the most unenthusiastic people on the face of the planet. It almost looks like there's two personalities, like between the torso and like between the
yes.
upper half and the bottom.
Yeah.
And
And like
it's,
skating it's like dancing. Like I like thinking of it as dancing, like personally, always to music and things like that. But yeah,
mm,
it's a whole one of our regulars at our adult night here. We skate. He says you got to get that bounce. Like
mm,
it's one thing to do a leg movement, but you got to get that whole body. You got to get that bounce. I'm like,
yeah,
it's
man.
true. You do.
And it
Yeah.
feels better. It just
Oh
feels
yeah.
good,
a
you
hundred
know.
percent.
The it's funny though. You're one of so many people, including myself, that brings up Nathan Edwards as a person they love to skate with. I love skating with. I tell you where I really love skating with that guy was Roller Jam.
Oh yeah. I got to skate
Oh,
with them at Roller Jam too. Yeah, we
yeah.
went.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on
And we
that
would
last
just.
night.
Oh, you were there the last night.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember, but
That's okay. There were so many people
oh
there.
yeah,
Like there were people that I knew there that I don't even think I saw.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there were just so many people there. Like I barely skated with the people I came with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts there, but I had a blast. And I did get to skate with him there, so it was fun.
How many times had you been able to get to Roller Jam? Did you go there a lot?
Once, that's the only time we ever went.
Oh,
We
really?
found out it was closing. We're like, we're going. And we
Yeah.
went that weekend. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, because good call.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny. I literally have the same exact response to everybody. So if I ask someone, "Did you ever get to skate Roller Jam before it closed?" and they say no, and I go, "Oh,
Yeah. It is. That was literally like in the most kind and respectful way, like skating meets like club, strip club vibe, like just the overall vibe of the place. The fact there's a bar. I mean, hello.
yeah,
The lighting and like the seating in there and the music, like it was. I've never been to a place where, which now I have been to other places like that, like Cascade is, they have a bar upstairs where people can watch people skating, but there it was so different. Everyone is in the same place. And I remember going and standing in line, and I'm like, people are like dressed up to be here.
oh yeah,
And I was like, kind of confused,
right,
which, because I'm like, are y'all like about to skate in
yeah,
that? I'm like, you're in like heels and like a cocktail dress, like,
yeah,
which more power to you. I'm all here for stuff like that. I wish I could wear fun, cute clothes while I skate, but I would die. Um, but yeah, I was like, oh my
You-
gosh, like what's going on? And it was, people dancing on the bar, skating on the bar. I was like, wow.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean that was a special night.
It was that
You
I
know,
know, so I can't be like, oh, it's always like that and all this other stuff. But I was like, wow, this is like a once in a lifetime experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
What it was like for me, it's the only place that I've ever been. Well, first thing is that Ray and these people would tell me about it, a couple of years ago, or whatever, and so I finally was able to go. I mean, I was in the door, like I was like the door before the door, but I could hear like this.
You know what? Okay, yeah, continue. I was
But
like, I
I
think I did see you there.
maybe
Yeah.
I know that Rob Cosmato just we showed up and there's just lines and tents and I know I got a bunch of
Yeah,
looks
yes.
when Rob like grabbed me and pulled me up through half the
Yeah.
line. But
Yeah, when I went there, Rob came up and gave me a hug, and I'm pretty sure we had met previously, but in my head I was like, what is going on? I was
yeah.
like, yeah, I love Rob. He's wonderful. He's so kind.
Wait, now are we talking about the same Rob?
Rob Cusmano?
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yes,
Just
yeah.
making sure. I totally assumed, but
Yeah, yes,
uh,
yeah. He came up and gave me a hug in line, and I was like, ready to
yeah,
go. I was like, yeah, which
yeah,
we were probably a lot of times this is probably one of my downfalls. I don't know if it's a downfall, but people will add me on Facebook. And I just actually got a Facebook less than 2 years ago, mainly for skating because
right.
people would be like, oh, it's really nice to meet you. I was like, can I have your phone number? I'm like, I don't really know you like that.
Yeah, that's a little.
Like, I don't
Hmm.
know. And so I made a Facebook. And so now I'm like, because I would ask people, I'd be like, oh, I'm on Instagram. Are you on Instagram? They'd be like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's the only social media I had at the time. So I did make a Facebook so that I could connect with skating friends and people I met out of state and all this other stuff. That way, we could keep in contact. Like, oh, hey, I'm going to this event. Are you going to be there? All this other stuff. And so a lot of times people add me and I'll add them back. Not everybody all the time, but I'll add
Sure.
them back, and then it'll be the mistake of like, oh, I don't know if I actually have ever met or spoken to this
Hmm.
person. And then they come up to me and they talk to me, and I unfortunately am like a little
Yeah,
confused
yeah.
because they know me because we're friends on Facebook, and like I've probably seen their stuff, but then I meet them in person and I'm like trying to connect the dots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally understand that. I literally like I shut my like I had a Facebook for years and then like COVID happened and I just was like if I don't get rid of this now, I'm going to hate everybody in my life because it was just insanity, right? And I just
Yeah.
and I don't do what like I can fall victim to intrusive thoughts and things like that and so I for me it's like I there are some things I can compartmentalize very, very well. And then there's other things I just can't. Right. And so I just said, I'm nixing this out of my world, man.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have it for a while. And then the only reason I got it was when I started skating again. It was my way to kind of network with
Oh
people.
yeah, definitely.
But that was it. But yeah, but with roller jam though, like I remember the first night because it was like the door before the door, but I heard that thump. And I grew up in
Oh
New
yeah.
England. I grew up in New England and that Northeast vibe is very different, right? It's
Oh
not,
yeah, it's very like I don't even know how to describe it.
it's funky.
It's giving club
Yeah, it's
in
funky.
like a
It's
really good way. Yeah.
yeah. It's a housey R and
Oh
B hip
yes. Yep.
hop kind of vibe.
Lounge. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a head nod
Yes.
type of thing, right? Like bounce. That's where you bounce, right? But the thing was that I would see at Roller Jam that I have not seen probably executed as well was that at every rink, at a lot of rinks you go to, like you'll have a few different styles represented in the room, right?
Oh yeah.
Right, you have your jam skaters, you got your JB guys, you got your shuffle people over here, and the thing is, and they'll all be there maybe on the same night, but there are certain times in the night where those, based on the music that's being played, right? They one of those styles is more active
Oh
than the
yeah.
other, right?
Yeah.
Roller jam, and shout out to Tito T because he's the one that makes this happen.
Yes.
That dude kept every single style
Going.
going all night flawlessly in a small area where I barely saw people bumping and anything like all the time with alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could take that same number of people, put them in a rink 3 times that size, looks empty, and they can't and they couldn't maintain that type of fluid
Oh yeah.
like
It was a
traffic control.
very, very interesting environment where it was like everything just worked out. Like if you were able to find your pocket and
Yeah.
groove there, you're good. Like there was a point where I was having a hard time skating because, you know, it would be like, oh, something would happen or someone would drop out or someone would fall and, you know, okay, the line's broken up now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I found that pocket where everything was good and I was by myself, at least like for who I know. Like I was skating with other people were skating behind me, but like I didn't know them. And we skated for like 30 minutes.
Yep.
Just like cruising at Roller Jam, and I was like, wow, you know, like,
yeah. Well,
how is that even possible?
Yeah, yeah.
With how busy it is there and everything just kind of working out. Yeah.
And that's
It
why
was
I
really
loved,
cool.
yeah, that's why I love skating with both Nathan and, do you know Evan Runfola? Do you know him?
I don't know if I know who that is.
But he's a Roller Jam kind of regular from, you know, Jersey guy. But
Okay.
both of those guys, like, you know, and you cannot kind of only do this in 2 groups of 3, you know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it was like, all right, dude, like I'm on you. And then the thing is like both of you just flying, trying to move.
Yes.
You're not staying on the wall.
Nope.
You are everywhere. And I just had so much fun doing that.
Yeah.
I miss that place so much. Oh.
I'm happy I got to go.
If you ever get up to New England, go to Chez Vu in Boston.
Okay.
Closest thing to it.
Okay.
Closest thing. It's amazing. Used to be a Model T factory.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right in Dorchester, and it's just the vibe is just off the chain.
I love stuff
incredible.
like that.
So, what's your favorite event to go to?
Ooh. Recently, I really look forward to going to Castle.
Yeah.
Every year in September, usually for flying over the castle walls. I really like that. My favorite event, at least so far, I'm trying to think where else I've been this year because I don't want to speak too soon because I mean it is only April. I'm trying to think what my favorite event was last year. Probably still Castle. Yeah, and I've skated a lot of rinks, but somewhere I had a really good time this year, which I've gone before in the past in October though, is we went to the USA Shuffle in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
A rink that I had a really, really good time at was Sparkles of Smyrna. Like we ended up going there because I know it was like we were supposed to, it was Kennesaw, Hiram, Kennesaw.
Right.
And we didn't come down. We didn't go to Kennesaw the first night with Cascade instead, just because like I'd always wanted to go. So we went there Saturday, Hiram, of course, and then
that's right.
We
decided, I remember you guys pulling in. That
yes.
Night. Yeah.
Because I remember going to. We weren't going to go to Kennesaw. We decided we're going to change it up. We're going to go to Smyrna. Oh my gosh, I had such a good time. Like just the amount of styles there, and I loved it there. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes. I have a couple new rinks on my list to visit. But yeah, I would have to say probably Castle. Neville was for a while, but there's just something about Castle's floor. And I really like the music there. Like that video you took of me at Castle last year was me skating to like one of my favorite songs to skate to at the time. And I'm like, I love that. Yeah.
What were you skating to?
I think they played Apple Bottom.
Okay.
Which is that one, you know, where they were like talking about all the states and all that stuff. And I was like, it just made me happy because we usually skate in Florida at least once every year, several places down there. And I'm like, that is such a Florida shuffle banger. And so it just made me think of Florida. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this song. So
I love going to Reflections.
Yeah. I've never been.
Oh,
it's on my list. It's on my list. So
either Labor Day or Memorial Day. So here's what's beautiful about that place.
Memorial Day is my birthday.
Oh.
So I'll probably be home. But
well, then there's Labor Day, the Labor Day event.
Yeah.
Labor Day event. And then Chris and Carrie asked me to do a Skate Like You event. So we're planning that.
Cool.
And yeah. So
well, that's exciting.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I just kind of going along
living life.
Ride.
Yeah,
I
doing
swear,
your best.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
that's what matters.
Me, like, I know what I'm doing. But what's cool about that event, like when I went to Memorial Day, is like I really enjoy USA, right? Like I love that racetrack kind of feeling,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
that whole thing.
Yes.
But Reflections, what's cool about it is it's the same thing, but the floor is so much bigger
Yeah.
that it kind of allows for like that middle lane, you know what I mean, for to just kind of like, you know, for
Pace
just
and yeah.
and yeah, and just kind of mix it up a little bit and all that kind of stuff. That and the system, the sound system in there is
Oh,
insane. It's
I would love to
insane.
go. It's on my list. I really want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've skated Tampa, USA,
Yep.
like United States, Tampa, and
Hmm.
then Cimarron. Love Cimarron. Cimarron was my favorite rink for like a super long time. Um,
I didn't do
yeah,
it yet. I didn't
it's a
do it yet.
blast. Yeah, it's a good time.
I know I need
I
to.
I biffed it there real bad last year.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately.
You get hurt?
So, oh yeah. Yeah, I fell. They have like a step down
Yep.
and I fell on the step, like my ribs and everything. Yeah, it was rough. But
Oh.
we're out here. So
Oh.
I'd be paying the floor tax. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
I have plenty of time. So broke my ankle doing it one time too. So
Really?
oh my God, yeah. That was I think 2 years ago. 2 years ago now, at least. Yeah, I was trying to skate. I was trying to do like a move. I was trying to learn to jam skate
Okay.
because obviously a lot of the people around me do jam skating.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it just did not go my way. So I actually broke my ankle in the middle of the floor, barely moving, at my home rink. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Like
And then,
visible? Was it like visible? Like or
I knew it broke the second it happened, and I'd
right, right,
never
right.
broken a bone before.
Yeah, you know. You know.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I literally can't even like walk.
Yep.
Yeah, it was bad. So,
Yeah.
and it was just, oh, so bad for like my mental health. It was like, wow, I can't skate, I can't lift, I can't do all of this stuff. Like, terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're out here now. So,
I don't know if you heard me talk about it, but like the literally like a month and a half before, almost 2 months before the first USA event I was going to go to, I fractured my ankle checking the mail.
ooh,
And Madison, I tell you, I like, because this was like, this was like the time where I really kind of got in with like a skate family
yeah,
and really just found my niche among people and my skating. And it just was like, you know, like that, you know, and then
yep,
bang. And it's so
yep.
funny too, because I had family and friends be like, you know, you know, you're not as young as you were. You gotta be careful when you're skating out there. This shit happens when I check the mail, right? So it took the wind out of my sails. All I wanted to do though was be okay for
Oh yeah,
USA
yeah.
to
I
get
ended
and
up like skating too early because like my birthday was coming up, like
mhm.
right around the time that I was like, all right, like I'm not gonna have to wear casts anymore, like, and they wanted me to wait like 2 more weeks, and I was like, fuck no. I was like, I'm skating on my birthday, and it's not gonna be the first time that I skated either.
Yeah.
Probably not the best choice, but we're out here now, and I think it actually made me a much stronger skater for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
they were telling me that that date for the event was probably a little too early. So I was like, all right, well then this is what I'm going to do because I'm going to go. I'm going to do this. And I basically said, okay, well, the first time I'm going to skate is going to be there. Because if the shit goes wrong, at least I'll be able to say I got a couple laps
Yeah, true.
in.
What year did you go?
This was 2 years ago. That was the first
October
one.
or spring?
It was March. I've only ever
Oh,
been to
okay.
March. I haven't done, yeah. So I literally tested out my healed ankle at a USA Shuffle event. It's probably the craziest place to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
Bold move. I like it.
it was just swollen for like every time I'd skate for
Oh
like a
yeah.
couple months after that. But other
Yeah,
than that, it was
mine it was
cool.
so bad I had to like relace my boot, and like I feel like you can tell in my skates like which ankle I broke because I feel like it's almost more stretched
Stretched.
out on the one boot. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah,
Yep.
man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Matt, we've done an hour 24 already. Is there anything that you want to say, shout
Oh,
out, anything that you want to throw out there? The floor is yours, whatever you want to do.
I don't know. I guess I would say don't be afraid to be yourself and do the things that you want to do, even if you think it's silly or you think people might think you're silly. I would also say too, skating is for everybody. I
Mm.
always tell people that skating's for everybody, regardless of, anything, your age, your gender, your race,
Yeah.
what you got going on. Like I skate with people from all walks of life. I skate with people in their 70s, and I skate with people that are amazing skaters that have only been skating for a year or 2 years. Um, it doesn't have to be, a lifelong sport to do it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think I always say skating's for everyone, and it's a great, healthy thing to do. Like I talked about, right? Physical activity, the social aspect, the community, the music, all those really good things. Um, yeah, I would just like encourage people to skate. I would also really encourage women to skate. Come skate.
Mm.
Don't be intimidated. I think a lot of like some of my friends that I have are women that I do skate with are sometimes intimidated or, stuff like that. Um, you just got to kind of pave your own way and find your thing. So,
Hell yeah,
yeah,
man.
you don't have to skate 20 plus years to be a good skater. I promise. I feel like I wasn't a good skater until the last few years of
Mm.
my life. So, and I've been skating for probably 20 to 21 years. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And anyone watching too, especially if for anyone that's been out for a while, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, come back. You'd
Come
be
back.
amazed at what you find.
Yeah, you will always be welcomed. Always be welcomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Madison, thank you very much. I appreciate this. This
Yeah,
is
this was
good.
fun. Thanks for having
This is
me.
good. Yeah, man.
Yes.
No worries. This is
Yes.
going to be a good one. I will.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
No. Trust me. This is good. This
You
is
know
good.
how like you start talking with someone and you're like, wow, we just talked about all these things and I have no idea what I said.
So,
Yep.
yeah. Well, so there's. I used to do a lot of public speaking, like in my former career, and in front of lots and lots of people. And a guy once said to me, a guy that was doing it much longer. He said, "Look, there's three potential things you could say. There's what you want to say, what you will say, and what you wish you would have said after it's done.
Yeah.
None of them are the same, so stop stressing." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." But
True.
yeah,
Very true.
but no, man, this is good. This is good, man. I think this is really
Oh,
good.
thanks.
And yeah. And I
Well,
will, I guess,
thanks.
maybe see you in May, or we'll see at
Yes.
least one of
Yeah.
those
I
nights.
think we're coming. I know we'll
Cool.
be there Saturday. I just don't know if we're gonna do Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday.
Gotcha.
So
3 days
kind
is a
of
lot for an
3 days
event.
is a lot. Yeah, and that's for me, heading that's like my heading out of my last week of school, heading into finals week, and then literally like 5 days after that I graduate. So I just, it's a busy time. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Check out Madison on wherever she's at, where she's skating. I mean, to tell you what, you see her at an event, she's gonna be one of the most badass skaters out there. That's all there is to it, man. So, thank you so much. This was a pleasure.
Thanks. Yeah, this was fun.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks, you too.